welcome to this week's video. Coming on this week's video, some footage of me recording. I display my encyclopedic knowledge of made-up knots. The Clapton hitch. I'm not sure that that's technically an actual knot. And a possible unexpected conclusion to the video. Slightly defeated the point of the entire video here. So something a bit different this week. If you've never seen my channel before, quite often I do videos following my journey or my work and my life as a working musician in the UK. If you're interested in having a look at those videos, there's all kind of gig footage and stuff on them. Check them out on my channel. But this week I was recording some more original music. I was putting together a new track in my studio at home, and I came across something that left me in a bit of a quandary, so I thought I would make a video about it. So I've written this new track and I'm putting together the demo, which may turn into the actual recording or parts of it, and I'm using a sort of nice clean Strat tone. I'm using plugins for the guitar sounds, sort of software amp simulations and stuff, like I always do when I'm putting together a demo. And there's several advantages to doing that. One is quick and easy because you just plug the guitar into the computer and then you can sort of fiddle around with the sounds afterwards. Also, you can do it all in headphones, so if you're writing stuff and sort of refining parts, you're not going to annoy everyone in the house and your neighbours by constantly playing the same thing over and over again. Now, the sound I came up with I was actually quite pleased with, but as I've recently been recording in a very nice studio in London, Core Studios. Actually, I did a whole vlog on my week in Core Studios, which I will link to here. I was kind of in the mood for maybe miking an amp like I'd done in the studio. So I decided that I was going to mic up one of my amplifiers in here and see how it sounded compared to the plugin. So my thinking was this is going to be a much better sound. After half an hour of finding the microphone, finding a cable, cabling it all in, moving things about, setting it all up in the sequencer to record the live guitar, I recorded it, and I have to be honest, I was a little bit disappointed. I wasn't sure it really sounded any better than the plugin. In fact, initially I thought it sounded worse. Now, the amplifier I was using was a hand-wired, I don't know what they cost now, I think they're about £3,000. And the plugin I was using, I've discovered, is actually free with certain pieces of equipment. So this is a free plugin versus a very expensive amplifier. The amplifier being a Vibro King, which has been used by all kinds of people like Robert Craig, Pete Townsend, loads of people use them, John Mayer. So it's a good amp, it's fair to say. So the rest of this video, I'm going to show you the process I went through, replacing the plug-in sound with the real amp, how I set it all up and everything. And actually I took the process a bit further than I had earlier in the week, because I basically recorded it earlier in the week and thought, oh, don't really like that. But then I thought, I'm going to make a video about this, so I took it one step further than I would have done otherwise. And maybe I changed my mind slightly, maybe I didn't, but watch to the end to see what my conclusion is. So hope you enjoyed the video. Coming up, some footage of me recording, and I'll show you some screenshots of how I set the plugins up and stuff. Okay, here we go. Now, I've been working on this track. I'm very excited about this track. Sometimes you do a song and you think this is the best thing you've ever done, and I'm very pleased with this. It was influenced by the John Mayer interview with Corey Wong, and he was talking about his new album, and on that album he's got a song called Wild Blue, I think it's called, which sounds very much like Dire Straits. And so I thought I'd do a song that sounds a bit like Dire Straits, and the lyrics in the song are influenced by a lot of the stuff that John Mayer said in the interview. So I'm quite pleased with this, and I've got this kind of clean Strat Mark Knot-free sound going through it. And so my idea was that I'm going to re-record it with my actual amp, because at the moment I've used plugins. So let me play the track to start with to show you what it sounds like. So I've got acoustic guitars, rhythm guitars, doubled, panned either side. And I've got two electric rhythm guitar parts and the lead parts. I'm only going to play the intro for now, so here we go, have a listen. So I just play the individual elements. So the lead guitar, here we go. A few open strings there I hadn't noticed before, but the and then let me just play quickly the rhythm guitar parts. That's a kind of damp part to the right, and then to the left, a more open rhythm part. So all three together. So what I'm using to get that sound is just the twang reverb from Guitar Rig 5. As you can see, I've got the volume set to about 6, treble to about 8, bright switch on, reverb on, vibrato off, and that's pretty much all it is. I think I've got a couple of other plugins. What else have I got on here? I've got a Celestion speaker emulation, which kind of takes the top off the sound. Actually, I'll play it without. And just finally, the last thing I've got on there is a UAD 1176, just a little bit of compression. But let me just play the difference that the speaker emulation makes. I prefer the sound of it with it. It kind of warms it up, even though the speaker emulation is on the plugin. I tend to put that on top of it anyway. So my thinking was I'm going to replace this with my actual amp. And I thought the closest thing that I've got out in the studio, although the closest thing I've actually got is the exact amp this is copied on. I've got a Vibro 64, the 15-inch speaker. But I was going to use my Vibro King, partly because it breaks up at lower volumes, and I'm doing this at home, not in a soundproof room, so I don't want to annoy the neighbours too much, and I can get a reasonably nice clean sound at that level. So I'm now going to show you how I set it up with the amp and show you what it sounded like. So the amp I've decided to use is my Vibro King. I've got two amps out. I've got my Milkman and my Vibro King. Let me show you. The reason I'm going for the Vibro King is because on that plug-in I'm kind of pushing the amp, which I won't get with the Milkman because it's designed to be clean, whereas the Vibro King should do it at a slightly lower volume. And what I'm going to use is this microphone. It's the Sennheiser 609. I bought this because most gigs I go to, the soundman put these on the amps, they dangle them in front, and it sounds great. It sounds a bit warmer than an SM57 to me. So I bought one, so if I turn up and I've got my in-ears, and the soundman's not using one of these, or even when I'm doing the PA myself, I can use this. So let me set this up. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to do the, what should we call it, my dad always calls it when you put your lead under your strap, the Clapton hitch. I'm not sure that that's technically an actual knot, but here we go. Let's dangle it in front, and there's a speaker there, and I'd like to have it kind of off axis slightly. In fact, it naturally wants to point that way, so I'm going to point it slightly off axis so it's not right at the centre of the cone, because that can be a bit harsh. So I think the centre of the cone's about there, so let's try and twist it a little bit around. Yeah, there we go. Actually, let's lift it up slightly. I'm trying to see exactly where the speaker is. Yeah, that looks about right. Okay, let's turn it on, let it warm up, and let's plug it in. Right, so that's all plugged in now. Put the Milkman back on top, and it's going into my Apollo 8, my UAD interface, and then it will go into the computer, and I'm going to record it. So I'm going to track it. So I'm going to video myself tracking the parts. So first thing, most important when you're tracking the parts, is to get in tune. So let's tune up. What I did as well when I was doing this is I wrote myself out charts just to make sure I got the arrangement all correct. So I've written this chart out. So the idea is you can get an idea of what the amp sounds like in the room compared to what it will sound like when you hear it on the computer. Right, so let me get it set up to track this. So I've taken a little bit of treble off the amp. It's on about 2.5, so it's not mega loud. So I'll track the lead part first. I've got the fat switch on, so it's not breaking up too much. Right, I'm going to track it now. Got my keyboard over here so I can hit record and don't have to run over to the computer then run back to pick the guitar up because I've only got one bar. Okay, here we go. Okay, that's that part done. Now I'll stick down some of the rhythm parts. Right, let's go and sort it on the computer. Be back in a sec. Okay, so first rhythm part, this is the damped one. I'm going to be using a pick for this. Even though I'm trying to use the fingers for the lead stuff, but I'm going to use the same sound. I'm going to see how it goes. I mean, I can alter it later if I maybe use a different amp for the rhythm later, but I'm just trying to see what this mic sounds like. Right, here we go. Here's the first rhythm part. And now for that final rhythm part, the more open strummy one. Okay, here we go. Let's go and have a listen and see what that sounds like on the computer. Right, I haven't looked at this yet. This is the first time I'm looking at it as we speak. It's going live here. So I don't know what this is going to sound like. So let's, right, first of all, let's listen to the original part with the plug-in, the lead guitar. Right, let's have a listen to hear what the part with the amp sounds like. Now, this one, seems to have more depth, more room to it. Let me have a look how that plug-in is set up. So it's actually, the cabinet, it's just got, it's all the way over to one mic. It doesn't look like there's any room on it particularly. This is interesting. Let's have a listen to the rhythm parts. So this is the original one with the plug-in. Now let's listen to my new one. Actually, that sounds pretty good. I wasn't expecting it to sound that good. Let's just try the other rhythm part. Compared to, this is the original one. I think one thing is clear here is I've put a lot more reverb, or there's a lot more spring reverb on the plug-in one. So right, let's get this a fair comparison. I'm going to go back and record these with more spring reverb on them. Okay, let's go back. So the Vibro King has the reverb unit built into it, the external Fender reverb unit you can get, the one that Dick Dale used and stuff. That's actually built into that amp, so I can't really complain about the reverb on it. But this, so I've turned it right up, turned the dwell up to about 8.5, and the mix up to about 7, and the tone to about 7. So right, let's track it again. Right, let's hear what that sounds like. I haven't listened to it yet. Let's listen to it soloed. Right, let's compare that to the plug-in. It's a bit more drive on the plug-in, a little bit more distorted, but I'm not sure. I think that's pretty good. Is it better than the plug-in though? So I think I need to try a couple of things here. On the plug-in, I've got a compressor, so let me copy the compressor. Let's see how that sounds. Just bypass it. Let's compare it. It's more toppy. Let's hear it in the track. Let's turn it up a bit.
Top kid.
So one other thing I'm going to try here, which might work, I'm going to add a room plug-in I've got. And it's the Ocean Ways Studio. It sounds more roomy to me, the plug-in. And so you get these sounds of the rooms, the microphones in the rooms, in this really fantastic sounding room. So I was thinking about remiking it and using a second mic in here, but this might do it. So let's have a look. Let's hear what that sounds like soloed. Let's compare that now to the plug-in. It's the new one. So I'm unsure here. I think it sounds good, this amp, actually now. It sounds better than when I tried it the other day, and I was really worried that it sounded worse, but now I've treated it slightly. Because there's some other things I can do here, but then I'm doing a lot of work here, miking up the amp and everything to make it sound as good as the plug-in. So let me just try this. Another way I could do it is drive the amp harder or put a pedal in front of the amp when I'm recording it, but what I'm going to do is I've got this thermionic Culture Vulture which adds a little bit of drive, so I wonder if this might add some drive to the track. Let's have a listen.
Top kid, top.
Now, the original one. New one. I think I've changed my mind. I think it does sound better with the amp, doesn't it? Slightly defeated the point of the entire video here, because I thought my point was that the plug-in was going to sound better, but with a bit of fiddling around, and let's face it, I use the plugins all the time, so I'm used to getting a good sound with them. And I don't often mic up the amp, but let me know what you think in the comments. I think I made my own conclusions here, but I guess I better re-record the entire track with the amp rather than the plug-in. But I can't wait for you to hear the track, because I think this is going to be good. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please leave me a comment, let me know what you think. Hit subscribe, hit the bell. I bring out new videos at 7 PM UK time every Friday. So, hope to see you next week.